to episode 30 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast for sharing tips, apps, and gear for iPhone and iPad, along with related technologies that get us using iOS in fun, productive, and meaningful ways. I'm your host, Melissa Davis, and joining me as always is David Ginsburg. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to keep cool.
Yeah, it's a little warm in Arizona, I believe.
Just a tad. It's actually it's like cool. It's like only in the 90s, and boy, does that make a difference.
No, it's been warm here too. The last couple of weeks, I was at a Cubs game. I was sweltering at the game because it was 105 heat index, and but the nice thing was the seats were in the shade. So and then I also had a coworker that was from our Montreal office that I got to hang out with. So, and he had never been to Chicago before, so
that made it fun.
We got to hang out, and it was better we picked the Friday game because in that next day, Saturday, it was about 110 in the heat index, so it was a lot hotter. So I'm like, dude, yeah, I think
that's a pretty big difference.
Plus, the Friday game didn't start till like 4 o'clock, so we had at least the evening going and all that stuff. But no, it's great to talk to you again. It's been a little bit, and glad we're back.
Good to curl up in the cool, crank up the AC, and play with our iOS devices.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeps my mind off of everything else that's going on.
So we got a lot to talk about. Got to catch some catching up to do here. Got a couple things we'll hit. Yes, I did it.
Dave did it again.
And that's why we're calling this episode HomePod
Returns. Insert your own Star Wars theme music in the background.
Yeah. I decided to go back and purchase the HomePod. So it is permanently
we knew you'd be
in
back.
my repertoire, and I knew it was going to do it. It was just a matter I wasn't happy with it when we talked about it a number of episodes ago. I only had it for 5 days, but it was a great device. They said that at the offset that I just was disappointed about all the software that was available for it. But now the software is awesome, so I'm going to talk about that.
Well, you said yourself it wasn't a mature product, and it's going to take time.
Yeah, it's still got some things to do, but now, well, like I said, we'll touch about that in a little bit. So, but we'll have a lot of new stories to talk about. I'll have a review of this thing called the Belkin Stage. What is that? And then we'll talk about MacStock. Oh my gosh, it's only a week.
It's coming.
Less than it's like a little more than a week away. And I'll talk a little bit about my presentation and get a little more deep into that, and we can wrap that up. And then we got you have a nice discussion to talk about. You're supporting your dad using using some tools that helped you support his iPhone, because you weren't there to look at it. So
and I think other people will benefit from hearing about that.
Oh, absolutely. So let's dig right in, and then let's start off with the news, and let's say happy anniversary! Yay!
Happy anniversary, App Store.
The 10th anniversary of the App Store. I can't believe it. It's been 10 years. I mean, God, time has just flown by. I just remember it being like yesterday. I did not own the first iPhone, but I did own every iPhone after that. So I remember when I had the iPhone 3G and how not so mature the App Store was. But we have a link to Mac Rumors. They have an awesome timeline of events that happened when the App Store started. It started on July 10th, when we're recording this. Today is July 10th.
It is.
That we're recording in 2008, so 10 years ago. There was a total
10 years ago to the day. How did you pull that off? That's pretty cool.
And there were 500 third-party apps ready to download. Boy, that seemed like a lot. That was a lot. Wow. It's an interesting article. They go through and go through some of the timelines. I mean, we could spend probably an hour going through everything they've gone through, because they've gone real detailed every year going across. But it's fun to reminisce. I like the one here from 2008 when Apple they refused the Pull My Finger app because it was a first day of some of the confusing and conflicting moderation. Because of all the fart apps,
flashlight apps, so little time.
All those fart apps that were out there, they let go after a while, because they do. We gotta have some fun. But look what happened. All the fart apps are pretty much gone now. So,
the digital whoopee cushion.
Yeah, and just evolving along with all of the different OSs that are out there. iOS 7, iOS 8. Just it's cool to kind of see what was out there back in those days, and and to see where the App Store is now today. I mean, it's just pretty incredible. Let me just talking about the HomePod. Now you have the Home app with the HomeKit. I'm starting to delve into that a little bit. I bought another light switch that actually I'm going to install because my light switch had failed in one of my bedrooms. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy an Eve home switch and see how it goes. And so I decided to do that. So I'll report back when it's installed.
I'm looking into getting some kind of maybe like a Wi-Fi light bulb or something that we can plug in, because we've been using that ManyThing app that you turned me on to, and that's been a lot of fun. We've talked about that in other episodes, so people can check those out. And we've using it for the puppy cam, when we go away, and it's been great. But one time we left earlier in the day, or just before it was going to be dark out, and we forgot to turn on the lights, so the poor puppy was in the dark. So I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be so great if we had a Wi-Fi light that we could turn on for the dog? I'll have to look for those and report back on that, see what I find. But the App Store thing, the anniversary, I just want to go back to that for a second, because I kind of I get nostalgic for it, because I have my oldest son just turned 12 on June 30th, and so it's he's 12, and I remember it just seemed like he was a baby when the iPhone first came out, and then the App Store came out. So he's like almost as old as, well, he's just a little bit older than the iPhone itself. Yeah. And so it kind of coincides with his age. He's 12, so he's right around the same age as all of the stuff that's happening. So it always kind of coincides with his birthdays and his little milestones and things like that. So it's just kind of funny to look back and think we have a 10-year-old App Store, and look how much has grown, and look at all the things that we can do with it now, and how much it's matured over the time. So it's just fun to look back on all that stuff. But definitely go check out that article on Mac Rumors. It's a really fun read. And
just a couple more things that stand out to me. It's when they didn't have subscriptions, now they have subscriptions to everything. And that when that first started, when they had the 25 billionth app that was downloaded in 2012, and they gave away that gift card. It was a $10,000 iTunes gift card to the 10 billion apps. That was in 2011. It just continued to evolve and look how. And
now we have trials. Now they allow trial
in-app purchases. Apps. That wasn't around for a long time until that happened, and lots of great things that happened with the App Store. And I think the App Store is it's gotten better. If you remember when during WWDC last month, $100 billion in revenue as of June, more than 1.3 million apps are available for iPad, and just 28,000 apps that offer subscriptions. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I just had my kids playing in Swift Playgrounds and trying to encourage them to get into that. So maybe I'll have some future little developers and app makers.
Yeah, it's just incredible. So, but take a look at that article. I'll have a link in the show notes. If people want to reminisce about the App Store. So I'm pretty stoked that where it's evolved. So, also wanted to touch upon is as of our recording, they released 11.4.1 in iOS, and that covers tvOS, watchOS 4.3.2.
Time to do your updates again.
And I start talking about
Time
HomePod.
to make the donuts.
Yeah. So don't say that. My wife hates me when I say that. And HomePod, of course, I'll start talking about that now because there was a release for that too. iOS 11.4.1 was not a very dramatic update.
It shouldn't take too long. I haven't done it yet, but I don't anticipate it taking a long time.
It took less than 5 minutes. So one of the big things they did do is it does block the passcode cracking tools that were used by the police, which is pretty good. I appreciate Apple always looking out for our security.
Patch those back doors.
Yeah, that apparently was a bad backdoor, and it's a new security feature they're calling USB restricted mode. So so it protects against any USB devices being able to use with private companies that are connecting over a lightning plug and being able to do that. So it was Apple's decision to do that. Other than that, there wasn't really much else. Other some minor security updates as far as that goes, but 11.4 is pretty solid, and I'd say go ahead and update it. It's probably more than likely going to be the last release before iOS 12 comes out in the fall. Unless some other weird bug comes out that they might have to release another version. But
yeah, this is kind of a patch.
Yeah, it's pretty much the patch with that and the some of the other things that it offered. So tvOS 11.4.1, there wasn't much to that. I'll go here and take a look here.
There wasn't really much. They didn't really release a whole lot.
That's generally usually what the case is with tvOS. There really isn't much to talk about tvOS, so I'm not going to spend much.
The last tvOS one before this, though, gave us the AirPlay 2.
Right.
And that was interesting and fun because then I liked being able to set a password on that.
Right.
So that I can prevent, because my sons are having like little friends come over, and I thought, oh, this will start getting interesting when they start hijacking the TVs, and that'll be fun.
Yeah. And then watchOS 4.3.2 came out. Minor updates, but I'm still, God, it's just frustrating how long it takes to update the watch sometimes. I mean,
the watch takes a while.
It was like a 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, to finally download it and got everything installed. So it's a little crazy. But this also probably will be the last update before because Apple already started shifting its focus on watchOS 5. And of course, what watchOS 5 has is it's bringing in some of the new things like the push-to-talk walkie-talkie mode that a lot of people have been pretty excited about. I want someone to come up with the sound effect that the old Nextel phones had.
Half the population is going to love that. The other half the population is going to be tearing their eyeballs out.
Stop! I hate that sound. I had a Nextel phone for a long time, and for its time, it was pretty awesome. But then you're around people, and all I hear you, thank you. Okay, just call me.
Have you watched Stranger Things, Dave?
I have not.
Oh, okay. So my son is just old enough now to start watching that, and we've started watching that together, and it's really fun. I encourage you to watch it because in season 1, it follows these kids around in the 80s. And they're walking around with these huge walkie-talkies. Mm-hmm. And my son was like, that's so cool. And he's trying to do that with his iPhone now.
Yep, that'll do it. So those are.
So he can't wait for that feature. He's already looked for apps, that don't work all that well, but things where he can make it turn into a walkie-talkie. He's at the age where he wants to experience all that nostalgia, Yeah. So that's been fun.
So and then HomePod. I'm not going to talk about HomePod because I did the update. I just did the update a few minutes ago, actually.
I was going to ask you, how does that work? So we know what, we kind of know what an iPhone, iPad, and a watch update looks like. Mm-hmm. Walk us through what's the process for a HomePod?
So with a HomePod, what you have to do is you have to use the HomeKit app. It because it's considered a home device, that you have to go into that and pick the device to do the update. So when you do that, I'm going to go into it, so I'm looking at it when I talk to you. So when you go into it, it shows all your different HomeKit devices that are available. In my case, right now, I only have it shows your Apple TVs in there now. I have
Apple TVs are considered HomeKit devices.
Yes, they're in there too.
Cool.
Because the Apple TV can be controlled through. Because they changed with AirPlay 2, they're now in there because of that reason. Because you can AirPlay to any device to your Apple TV if it's hooked up to your, let's say it's to your receiver. Makes it real easy to do that too if you don't have your HomePod.
I haven't looked. Is there a home app on the Apple TV that you could do the same process through, or is it iPhone only?
I think it's iPhone, iPad only.
Okay.
And so when you go into the app, it shows the HomePod as a device, and you can tap it. And then you can go into details. And then basically it's got the same type of menu that shows all the settings. You can name it.
Like the Apple Watch.
All that stuff, yeah. And then there's software update. You can set it to automatically update so it doesn't, so you don't have to do it manually.
Mm-hmm.
But
just like the Apple TV. Yep, yeah. I do that with the Apple TV.
But I'll talk a little more about that when I'm hitting the discussion on HomePod. But the 11.4 was the big update that they released a little more than a month ago for the HomePod, which introduced stereo support, multi-room audio, and functionality through AirPlay 2. So again, I'll talk about that in just a few minutes here. That's what you do as far as updating the HomePod. Moving on to some beta software, I wanted to talk a little bit about iOS 12. iOS 12 Beta 3 was just released about 7 days ago or so, and they've done some more improvements with the sharing of photos. They now have added as they have now added a thing called series shortcuts, and what those are going to be similar to what they're based on the workflow app, which Apple bought about a year ago, which is a really cool, slick automation app that allows you to automate tasks. I'll talk about the series shortcuts here in just a sec. Got some, and we talked about this before when iOS 12 came out with WWDC. You had the voice memos update, Apple Books, Apple News, all that stuff is updated. So really what they did is this is more so just some minor changes. The podcast app now shows now playing indicator. So they've improved that. Just cosmetic changes. A lot of stuff is what beta 3
refinements.
Did. So refinements. So then that's pretty much what you can kind of anticipate to what a beta software is going to be. So again, I stress, do not update your primary device. I'm lucky now to have two iPhones to beta test with. So
you have your 5 SE, right?
I have an SE, and then I have an iPhone 6 because we upgraded my mother-in-law's phone, and that for some reason T-Mobile wouldn't take it as a trade-in. So they couldn't find it in the system. I'm like, okay, then we'll keep it then. So, I mean, and actually it's running. I mean, if you remember, I did have it. I can't remember if we talked about it last episode or not, but when I first installed it, I think I posted this on Facebook. I didn't see the Measure app, and I was like, why is this on iPhone 6? That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it's actually a good phone. It's faster than the 5 or the 5. I'm sure the 5S, which still supports. But then when more updates came through, it was there. So kind of strange.
So you can use the Measure tool on a 6, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean you can.
So you'll be able to use it on a 7. I was trying to think like how far back.
I don't know about the 5S. The 5S is the one, of course, that's the farthest back you can go with iOS 12. Which, honestly, I think that's pretty impressive that Apple is
that is really impressive, because that's the phone that we just handed down to my son.
Yeah, supporting a device
his first real iPhone that he's taken out,
years.
and he is stoked that he can use iOS 12 on it.
Yeah, it's 5 years old. I mean, think about that. Whereas you got people like you got the iPod Touch where they put the end of the road on the 5th gen. I mean, really? That's only one gen back.
It's an odd cutoff,
but I guess the processor in the iPod Touch 5th gen was too low, and then that's when they decided to do it. Funny story with the iPod Touch. I mean, I was just talking to a coworker today, and she had told me that her daughter accidentally dropped their iPod Touch because they were on vacation, and then as soon as she picked it up, it was shattered. So of course you go and look for pricing on how much it's going to cost to replace the screen. It's like, without no warranty, it's going to be like $140. Like, let's buy a new one or buy a refurb. So what she did was she went out to the Apple refurb store, which I was like, I'm proud of you. I'm glad you did that.
Good.
And they found the 6th gen perfect for 2-year-old and 5-year-old, and they're getting it tomorrow, and it's $170. So
nice.
So yeah, but that one will work with iOS 12, so that's great. So
that's what's great about them. They hold their value. You can really still get a valuable
as long as they have OS
device
available. I mean, that's that's the thing. Anything obviously older than that. I mean, even so, I mean, I talked about in previous episodes. I had a 4S I sold, and I still ended up selling it for like $60. I mean, still.
Well, I mean, look at us. We have a little 8 gigabyte 4S that my youngest son was using. Now the older boy has the 5S, and so he got the better of the 4Ss that has the 16 gigabyte hard drive. You know what I mean? He doesn't really need all that space. So that's the one that we repurposed for the many thing, the puppy cam. Right. So that one's, sitting out there in the kitchen using it I showed it to people like, oh, I have an old iPhone laying around. I'm like, see, you can still repurpose the things. You could use them for remote control. We play Spotify. We play music on it. They still have a purpose. You can still use them. We still have a 4th gen iPad that's still usable. I mean, it's a little slow. You can't do Swift playgrounds on it, which is why I replaced it with the new one. But I mean, it still has all their games and their apps and stuff on it. So, they're still usable. We use these things till they die. Yeah. I mean, we really do. We get a lot of lifespan out of them, and that makes me really, really happy. Yeah, it's a really good value, especially for a family with little kids.
Yep. So iOS 12 is, as far as we know, is due to be released in the fall, and that's
sometime in the fall.
That's what Apple announced during WWDC. So I can venture to tell you that you will see more updates out there. And if those of you who don't know, or if you're not familiar with the beta testing process, and again, use it on a secondary device. Don't use your primary device. If you don't want to pay for a developer's account, you can be a beta tester for free. You just got to go to beta.apple.com and sign up, and it allows you to be able to download the latest public beta and be able to start playing. And there's a lot of cool things on it that are making it. I'm looking forward to the new features on my iPhone 10, let's say. But by that time, probably the iPhone 10 Plus will be out. So
that's exciting.
My upgrade program will be in my year, and then I'm going to trade it in and get a new one. So as I said, if you wanted to do beta test again with a secondary device, feel free to check that out. So the last thing I want to talk about relates to beta is what iOS 12 did release was a program called Siri Shortcuts. And what that's going to do is it's going to provide an interface that utilizes the app that Apple had purchased about a year ago called Workflow. And it basically what Workflow was or is and still exists, it creates workflow style shortcuts and assigns different types of commands. Where let's say you want to download a YouTube video, or if you want to automate a process or any of that kind of stuff. We've got a link in the show notes from Mac Rumors that has an actual hands-on video in there as well, which I just watched a few minutes ago, and it's great. It's powerful. You can explore different types of things and uncover all the different things that you can do. Like here's one for a shortcut you could create, like if you want to create a live photo to a GIF or a GIF, whatever you choose, and it allows you to be able to set things and be able to use Siri to actually create the command and be able to say it. Because before you weren't able to use Siri with Workflow. Well, now with the Siri shortcuts, you can.
I cannot wait to try this because I use Siri so much in the car when I'm doing stuff for reminders and things.
And that's the other thing too. Yeah, with the advent of hands-free, we've had discussions about this before. Distractive driving, all that stuff. You can go through and create all these shortcuts in here. And I just downloaded it before we started the show. So I had the test flight. Of course, you have to have a developer's account in order to access this right now. So the public beta will not give you access to this.
Interesting.
So yeah, so they're restricting it to paid developers at the moment. But I'd venture to say when Apple's ready, they may open it up. You have to use an app called Test Flight. Test Flight is an app that puts you into the dev or beta environment, allows you to test fly apps before they are released to the public. And then of course that requires a code, and then if you're a developer, you get the code via email. So but all kinds of different shortcuts in here. I could go on for a while here to talk about some of the things it can do, but check out the article on Mac Rumors. We love Mac Rumors. They have a lot of great information on that website, and they will give you everything you ever wanted to know about the Siri shortcuts. So,
what's the first, off the top of your head, what's the first app that's a third-party app that you want to tinker with to try to make a shortcut for?
God, that's a good question.
You can get back to me on that, but that's your homework to think about.
Let me see. Yep.
Like, what's an app that you use all the time that you just keep wishing?
One password might be one that I would like to say, hey, can you give me this password? Yeah, maybe Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot.
Twitter, maybe. Well, you can already use Siri to tweet something, but maybe a better type of shortcut that's more involved, that has more steps
Netflix,
to it.
Hey, they Netflix play. Maybe they would think to be able to do something like that. Open Table, when I want to make a reservation for a restaurant, to that, I would hope they would do something like that. Walgreens could be one. Can you refill my prescription? I don't know how easy that would be for them because, of course, it requires. It requires more privacy. So.
And anything that's where you try to do something and it says you have to unlock your iPhone first, that's going to be kind of difficult.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
we'll see how that shakes out. I'm really excited about that, though.
I am too. I agree. So, anyway, let's dive into the hot topic of today: the discussion about the HomePod. So,
HomePod Returns.
Why did
it's back?
Why did I do it? Okay, well. I did it because I do have Apple. I did buy Apple Care on it too, which is only $39, and so
nice.
My wife was generous to me in giving and providing some of the Target gift cards she had obtained. So I'm very thankful to her for doing that. So that saved us some money too, because my expensive technology habit. But that was one of the influencers because I have to come up to pay the full bill here. But the other influencer really was the fact that now that it supports AirPlay 2, multi-room support. So now, hey, I can for
those
Christmas,
were the deal breakers, huh?
They were, honestly. And AirPlay 2 rocks. It really does. In 11.4, if you see how you can see it now, especially if you have Apple TVs, you can see how it comes up in the menu. So that it does the same thing with the HomePod.
Yeah, I've been using it and liking it a lot.
Yeah. So when the HomePod comes up, I can send my sound from my iPhone, from my iPad right away to my HomePod. So before it was some convoluted, you can do Bluetooth this way through here. Even on my Mac, I can do it on my Mac too, which is great because if maybe I'm watching a YouTube video and I want to listen to it through my HomePod, I'll be able to do that. I have an old Bose speaker system, the old school ones with the mini plug. I plug into the I plug it into my dock, and it's getting old. I've had it for probably 10 plus years. I mean, it still sounds good, but it does have a hum to it, and then still haven't figured out why it does that. But probably because it's old. But the nice thing is going to be is if I decide, hey, for Christmas, hey, you guys can all pitch in and get me a second HomePod. So now
there you go.
I can have.
I was waiting when it's going to have a sibling.
Yeah, it needs to have a sibling, so I can start listening to it in stereo. So.
It needs to have a sibling so that you can start listening to, and then we can podcast about it, and then we can have an episode where Dave has dueling HomePods, or Dave's HomePods are multiplying.
Now, I shouldn't say this. I should not say what she does to answer it, but I'm going to do it anyway, so you can hear what she does.
Yeah, I want to hear it. Go ahead.
Hey Siri. I love that.
It cracks me up. That is just so cute. She just goes,
And then she's going to start playing music on me, Grace. So I could stop that right away.
Is it just a or doesn't she do uh-huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really noticed is the sensitivity because of all the microphones that are in the HomePod, that it really picks up your voice really well.
What are there, 9 or 11? I asked you and I forgot what the answer was.
Something like that. I think it's
9 or 11.
We have a link to the Apple the site, the new sound of home, and it does give you a breakdown on what it actually looks like as far as the speakers. I have to look at the tech.
Did you get the black or the white? And are you going to have matching colors when you get a second one?
Yeah, I think I am very full because I have to have two separate different colored Apple Watch bands. No,
because then you could name them like Bert and Ernie or something.
That's right. So it does the sound is
a little eyebrow on one of them.
Yeah, there you go.
A little troll fluff on another.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty amazing how I could call it out downstairs from the room I have it in, and it still hears and still responds, and it's not like that other one, that Echo, that you have to scream for it to hear you.
Or like my kids, it makes me want to get an iPod just so I'll get some acknowledgement around here.
There you go. And then,
that would be nice. Siri says and and I can't get my kids to even answer their names.
But I went with the Space Gray, which is, I guess you call it the black.
Nice.
And of course, I do have Apple Music, so it's very, very, very nice. I mean, in fact, they even have playlists. I didn't even realize you could say, play 10s music. So, I mean, it's going to play the music from the 2010s. I'm like, I didn't think about doing that. And then, okay, here's pop rock from the 2010s. And
have you tried playing our podcast on it yet?
Have not tried that yet. And
it's a new assignment.
I think it has to be subscribed in the podcasts app in order for it to play. It doesn't. I think you have to. With podcasts, you have to actually have subscriptions. If I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Because you can get it to probably tell you what the news is and have it play through that.
Don't know. Again, I don't want to start.
There's some things you got to throw at it.
I got to record it afterwards because if I start saying, hey you,
right?
I've already probably triggered off everybody's devices as they're listening here.
I always wonder about that. I wonder if people get their devices talking to each other.
And then they have the things like with the lights. I can turn lights on or off, and that's with that switch I'm going to have. I'm going to be able to go in here. Hey, turn on this switch in my bedroom, or turn on the switch downstairs. In fact, I could do it now because I have. I've been the products I've been buying was by a company called Elgato, and it's their Eve products. And in fact, they're changing their name. They're going to be called Eve. Is going to be their company program?
Didn't Elgato make a some kind of a recording device where you could record VCR tapes or something?
Yep, they did.
Yeah, that same thing.
That type of equipment. So.
So they've been around for a while.
They have, and then they moved all into the HomeKit
home automation space,
which is smart because that was not it. So yeah, speaking of news, yeah, you could say hey, you play NPR news, or you can get headlines, things like that. So, and the calendar does work. Again, you got to be careful how your messages, calendars, all that kind of stuff is linked to it.
What about messaging? Is that a thing?
That's you got to be careful. Yes, it does work, but and it will read stuff. But do you really want your kids to be saying it to HomePod?
Right. Yeah, that's we're still not there yet with the HomePod as far as like it being kind of family oriented.
Right, and then you could turn that all off, so it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be set. So, but timers. And again, I'm going more deep into this detail because it was fresh in my mind or when I had it the first time. But now a lot of this stuff, the AirPlay 2 was the deal breaker for me, and it just working because that's what I wanted to do. I want to be able to do whatever I want with this device and being able to play it. So, so I'm pretty excited I have it, and I'm stuck with it now. It's not going back. It's staying in my. Did
you get a doily for it?
No, I did. Actually, let me pick it up to see if it's made a mark on my desk. I see a little mark there, but it should be okay. No.
Time for a doily.
Just
get an old CD coaster or something.
Just be careful with it. So, but anyway, that's
save up your gift cards. Go back out and get a HomePod.
That's right. So that's me and the HomePod. But you had a good experience. Let's talk a little bit about. Your experience actually working with your dad and doing support of the iPhone and being able to actually remote into an iPhone. That's interesting.
Have you tried this yet? So you told me about this a while ago. I mean, I've known about TeamViewer for quite a while. In fact, we reviewed it when Jody and I did MacStuck a couple of years ago. It was on our list of tools that you could use in your tool bag to help remotely support your family and your clients and your loved ones and things like that. And so TeamViewer is a remote support tool that you can typically use, on a computer to a computer. You can log in remotely and view the other person's screen. And for the longest time, everybody just said, "Oh man, I wish I could just see someone else's iPhone or iPad screen." And we just didn't have it. Well, finally the feature caught up. And so TeamViewer seems to be the first to the table on this. And I don't know of any other tools that can actually do this. And it was phenomenal to actually see it work. I've been wanting to try this out. Have you had any successful with it? Have you tried it with clients?
No, I don't have the clients like you do, but I have tried it and played around with it with multiple devices, and it does work really well. I'm very impressed. And TeamViewer is a great company, and I think it's probably one of the more abused apps because you do get it for free for non-commercial use. And of course, you're paying for a license, right?
I mean, and I'm just using it for like my dad so far. I might use it with a client or two, but it's small potatoes. I mean, I guess that's where what butters their bread, or people pay many hundreds of thousands of dollars for business licenses for this. Right. And I think that's why they're able to kind of give some of it away for free just for non-commercial use. And, it tells you after you're done with the session.
I kid, but just know that this is not for non-commercial use.
Yeah, so we have to have that caveat out there because you're right. It can get abused, and so and I don't want to abuse it. Obviously, I don't want to get a charge someday or say you can't use this anymore because now you have to pay for it. So I do watch how much I actually use it. But I just wanted to bring it up because I really think it's a really fantastic tool if you can get it to work for you to help your loved ones out with their devices, because it can get really tricky when you go and say you're an adult child who's maybe decided to get your parent or loved one an iPad or an iPhone, and then you're not living in the same place. Even if I'm thousands of miles away from my dad, but you might even just be living in different addresses, and this is just a really great way to be able to remote into their screen just like you can with a computer. It does have its caveats, so that's why I wanted to kind of talk about it, because when you're working with say a parent or something, even just not even a parent. I mean, even if it's just you and I mean, we're techies, there's some little gotchas and things that you kind of have to be aware of. Yep. The one thing it does have it has a microphone feature where I think it's supposed to be able to tap into your microphone so that you can hear each other over it. But that did not work for us. And we tried. And I mean, we tried all different kinds of ways and it did not seem to work. So the way around that was we actually started a FaceTime audio call, or you could use just a regular cellular call. Mm-hmm. So that I was really happy that worked, where you could actually talk on the phone, in speaker mode and still be able to hear each other and talk instead of like having to text back and forth or something. So the way that it works, so to get this set up, of course, you want to go to the apps, and we're going to have links in the show notes where you can go in the App Store to download these. Yep. And I had both apps installed. In fact, my dad got confused, and this is another caveat, is you really want to pay attention to, and especially the person that you're helping, you really want to pay attention to the artwork of the app because they're very similar. I almost kind of wish they would design them a little bit differently, like make it a different color so that you could say, no, Dad, use the green one, not the blue one, or, something like that, just to be able to say it verbally. Because that's the tricky part, is trying to get the things that you're trying to do with your fingers to actually process through your brain and out your mouth and into the other person's ear hole so that they can, process that information. So that's the tricky part. So look at the icons very carefully, and you'll notice that one of the icons is just a blue background with a white circle and an arrow in the center that's pointing left and right. The QuickSupport app, which is the app that you want the other person that you're helping to have, is called TeamViewer QuickSupport. Mm-hmm. And the app icon is identical, except in the upper left-hand corner, there's a little triangle badge that says QS, which obviously stands for QuickSupport. Yep. But that might not be immediately obvious. So that would be the first thing I would say. Make sure you point that out and start there. So get the app first, get it installed. And then the very next thing that you want to do, and we've talked about this feature in the past, and this comes into play, where you want to be able to go into settings and the control center and then customize those controls. And you want to be able to add the screen recording feature to your control center. So that has to be basically added, made available, because that's what the TeamViewer kind of taps into. It taps into the ability to be able to record your screen. That's why we didn't have this tool all these years, because we had to kind of wait until screen recording. We could always take screenshots. We could take a static picture of the screen, and then when did it come out? Was it in iOS 10, I think, that they added? Mm-hmm. Was it 10 or 11? I think it was 10. It was 10. That they added the ability to be able to actually video record the screen. So then, you could say, okay, here's a demonstration of me doing this. Dad, here's how you do this. Watch this, and then send the video off as a text or something. Right. Now, with this, you can do it live. And this is what's great about it. So you do need to be able to enable screen recording to be accessible from your control center, because then that's how, once you've got this app installed, that's how you basically work with it. That's how you start a session, is what I'll call it. You swipe up from the bottom, and then this was what took us a little while to figure out, well, where is it? Where is it? How do I get there? When you see the circular icon for screen recording, you don't just tap it, you have to long press on it. And that kind of messes with a lot of people. You have to actually press onto it. And once you long press onto it, then a new screen will pop up, and it gives you the choice between camera roll, and now TeamViewer will show up there as an option. And you actually have to select it so that it has a check mark next to it. Mm-hmm. And then you start a broadcast, and then it will walk you through the next step in, okay, well, now you've started broadcasting. Who do you want to see your screen? And then that's from there where you send a text. You can tap messages. And then, like in the case of my dad and I would have him text me, because it gives you an ID. And sometimes that ID changes. So it's not like a static address. It will change over time. Mm-hmm. Like say if you reboot your iPhone, or say maybe you've disconnected from Wi-Fi and then reconnected. See, that's the tricky part is, you've got to be connected to the internet. So if the person that you're helping on the other end is having internet problems, this probably won't work too well. So you got to make sure that you're connected to Wi-Fi or a really good LTE signal, and then, check with that data plan, make sure you're not using it the whole time. So then once you tap Start Broadcast, it'll give you the option to text or email. In this case, I said just choose text, and then I would have him text me. It would text me a link, and then all I had to do was tap on it. And then because I had the other app installed, which is just called TeamViewer Remote Control, it would give me the ability to be able to open up the session in that app. And then because we were already talking on an audio call, whether it be FaceTime audio or a cellular voice call, we already had in a voice conversation. And then I could tell him verbally, yep, I see your screen. And so then I would tell him to press his home button. And then it was great because then he could show me, ask me questions about things. And so we've been using it quite a bit now. When he has a question, I may have created a monster, but that's okay because it gets me talking to my dad more. Well, he was helping me out with the HVAC unit today. So I totally got paid back for that.
There you go.
Yeah, so check that out. Go to the links. Try it out first on yours. Get familiar with what the interface looks like, and then, like I said, just be really clear on your instructions when you're walking your whoever it is that you're helping out on the other end. Make sure they install the correct app and tell them where to point their eyeballs. Where to look at on the screen, and give us some feedback and let us know what you think about it because I think it's a really fantastic tool. I've been waiting a long time to be able to do this, and I'm really looking forward to helping people out with it. So have some fun with that.
One thing I was worried about it is I didn't know if TeamViewer was going to actually make that fully out paid and not allow the non-commercial use device. So it's be aware that that's possible that they could change the term at any time. So, but for now, it does work. Yeah, I
don't want to get too attached to it. I mean, it's exciting, and but I am aware that it could be pulled at any time because it is free, and it's nice that they allow people to use it for free. But free things don't always last. So it could be something that they're using us as beta testers.
This is true. Mm-hmm. This is true. So, but no, that's a great app, and I think we talked about it before the show, and I thought it was going to be a great topic to talk about here. So, so let's talk about MacStock.
I'm so sad I'm not going, but I'm excited for you.
We got a lot of our friends are going to be there. Jody's going, which is great.
Yeah,
she's not going to present, but she's going to be there in the audience. And
yep, we're both taking a break from presenting this year, but that was definitely fun.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of great speakers are going to be there, including our
a lot of repeat offenders like you.
Chuck Joyner's going to be there. Allison Sheridan from the NosillaCast. Mike Schmidt is going to be there. He's a great guy. He's a productivity guru. Brett Terpstra is going to be there. Gene McDonald.
You know who the keynote speaker is? Bob Levitas.
Dr. Mac. Bob Levitas is a keynote speaker, which is great. This is the first time we've done that. It's also the first time we'll do it this year, and I think I actually am thrilled, and I'm happy that Mike did this. Mike Potter, the event coordinator, he made it a theme. We're forced on a theme called productivity. So we had to come up with a presentation that talked about nothing but productivity. So
that's a hot topic. That's what most people really want to learn about.
We're being productive. So my topic is going to be on the three devices that we have, or we always talk about here on this show: the Apple Watch, the iPhone, and the iPad. I decided to focus a little bit on the Apple Watch to see how productive could you be just using the Apple Watch. So there's a little teaser there. I don't want to give away the rest of the presentation, but it's I'm really going to really try hard to see what you could do and being productive with all three devices. It's a great show. I can't believe it. It's like a little more than a week away. It's on Saturday, July 21st and Sunday, July 22nd. It's in the Chicago area, it's in Woodstock, Illinois, or actually it's considered Crystal Lake. And one of the greatest things it's to be able to get all these Mac people together in the Mac community and be able to learn. You're going to be able to network. You're going to be able to meet all kinds of great people. And Melissa knows you and I met at MacStock.
Yep, that's where we met. That's where this podcast was born.
This podcast actually was born at MacStock. So we may even podcast from there. I don't know. I know Guy Searles from the MyMac.com podcast is going to be very excited to show off his new mobile gear. He already said on Chuck Joyner's show on Mac Voices that he's bringing his 50-pound backpack of all of his equipment, and I think he's crazy, but okay, that's Matt. That's Guy.
That's Guy.
Yeah. So who knows? I might even record our show using his equipment. So,
yeah. Well, we borrowed some of it last year, so that wouldn't be anything different.
It wouldn't be anything different. So yeah, I'm hoping.
Guy's really supportive. He's always trying to get people to do mobile podcasting. Yeah. So he's your guy when you have questions about that.
Yeah. So it's a great thing. So. And also the other thing too I didn't touch upon as far as the event is we limited to only a certain amount of speakers, so that allows to have every speaker be able to do a deeper dive on their topic. So
that's fun. Deeper dives are great. I love the deeper dives so much. I mean, I love the presenting part, but it's so hard to do stuff in 20 minutes. It's just so much pressure.
And we'll be able to see every deeper dive for the most part, depending on the schedule. So if I'm looking at the schedule here, I just got kind of thrown off because Mike finally put the deeper dives on the schedule here.
Cool.
So the information's out there. So I will be going to deeper dive in creating a productive workflow in iOS. Is what my topic was, and so there's going to be competing people doing their deeper dives. So. Bob Levitas will be doing his deeper dive too. So, and I don't know if he's doing it. That was Sunday's schedule. I believe he's doing his on Sunday, so he gets a break because he's doing the keynote.
Well, he's the keynote, right?
Because he gets the full hour instead of our 20-minute limitations. So, but I'd love to see you out there. I'm talking all kinds of things about it, but it's just an amazing conference, and it's like. The cost is like nothing. I mean, think about when Macworld was around.
And they feed you.
Yeah, you get fed. You have lunch both days. You're going to have, we have an event planned for the Friday before when people come in. We're going to, Barry Folk is doing all the planning for our events.
He's the party man.
He is the party man. Shout out to Barry because he just got back from his long trip to Europe. And then on Saturday night, actually between the event days, we're going to have a gathering over at the hotel. We'll have a party room set up. We're going to be playing games. We're going to be doing karaoke. So it's just an absolutely awesome opportunity to network and meet new people. I mean, like I said, I met Melissa. Here what happened. This podcast was born. I met Chuck, and I are good friends, and we're just so there's just all kinds of opportunities to meet new people, and I want to meet you too. So the base price is $249, but if you were to want to still be able to go, I mean, we got some last minute procrastinators out there. If you go out and purchase the tickets and use our offer code INTOUCH, you will save $70 off the price from that cost, it's a great discount, and you'll be able to really you can
put it towards your hotel room.
Put it towards your hotel room. Yeah, exactly. So I know hotel rooms are limited now. I mean, the primary hotel is all sold out, but there's other hotels available. So, but come out and see us. I would really love to see you. Like I said, I'm kind of bummed Melissa isn't going to be there, but she'll be there in spirit. And
I might even show up in a Skype interview. Who knows?
We'll try to get you in Skype, depending on. I know your time schedule is always tough on weekends, so but we'll see how it goes. Come out and see us. I appreciate everybody their support, and I think a lot of people are going to be there, so we're super excited about it.
It's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, even one other thing I'll mention, there's going to be a public screening of the Love Notes to Newton. There's
cool.
a movie about the Apple Newton. It's a documentary that was put together by I forgot who the film did that. What is it?
It's probably on the website, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, but I can't see who it says. But Wally. I'm sorry, Noah Leon. Sorry, Noah. He's the author of the movie, and then Wally Trzynski and Mike Potter are also going to be a presenter on the movie. So that'll nice. Be the wrap up at the end of the second day. So you look forward to that as well. So come out and see me. And MacStock2018.com is the easy website to get to it, and we'd love to see you. Appreciate we taking all the time to talk about MacStock. So that's enough of MacStock. Let's.
Yeah, but you're going to be taking something to MacStock, aren't you?
I am going to be taking something to MacStock, and what are you going to take, Dave? I'll give you kind of the background of what inspired me to buy this thing. It's called the Belkin Portable Tablet Stage. A stage for your it's a stage for your iPad. So what really inspired me to do this was, and we just talked about this before the show. you and I both have the OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock. We absolutely love,
which we love. Using it now.
But the gosh darn cable is like an inch long.
Teeny tiny.
I'm exaggerating. It's what is it? 2 feet, 3 feet, if that?
No, it's not even that.
Is it a foot?
Maybe a foot, maybe.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So then I just now started putting my MacBook Pro under my Thunderbolt display because it gives me more space on the side of my desk. So I'm like, you know what? The heck with this. I'm going to buy a cable. I gave in, and Belkin sells really good Thunderbolt 3 cables. And it's good for 5K, and it's good for high speed, so I knew it would work. So I went out to the website and took a look at it. I've been procrastinating buying it. And then all of a sudden I got an email from Belkin saying, oh yeah, 35% off all purchases over $80. I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of scanning through your website, find something I want to buy.
It's the gateway cable.
Yeah. So, it's a $60 cable. Unfortunately, they're really expensive. And so
I guess they have to be because of the throughput, right? Because you're transferring data and power.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going on and on about this. So I came across this Belkin portable tablet stage, and I was like, why am I not looking at this before? Because it's something I could easily use for my presentations at my Apple user group. Doing it for MacStock, all kinds of ways I can do demonstrations. In fact, it can also be used as sitting on your desk, and you can tilt it so you can watch movies. Maybe you can put it on your bedside. So we have, of course, a link in the show notes about this item. It's made by Belkin, and it's very well made, a very well made device. I was very impressed. Now, if you look at the picture, and there's also a video on Belkin's website that shows you what you can do with it. It basically folds flat, so you can put it easily into your backpack. It is a little heavy. I'll give that, because it probably weighs about 4 or 5 pounds. It's heavy.
Yeah, it's probably designed to be on a desk and stand on a desk. I mean, I can picture people doing lots of document scanning for this.
Right, and
watching the GIF play over and over again. It's pretty cool because it animates what it does.
And really, what makes it heavy is if you look at the picture, the base of it is a flat plastic base. The arms that hold up the stand, where the iPad
look like they're aluminum.
They're metal, so they are. That makes it. That's why it's heavy. The base goes completely vertical, so it could be flat, so you can be looking down at it, or it'll go all the way down to position it like you could use it to be watching a movie or whatever with your iPad too. But the unique thing about it is it does have a little space in the platform that allows you to utilize the camera in order.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
In order to do, real live presentations, like for me, it'll really all depend on how logistics are in at MacStock. But because I want to talk about the Apple Watch, it's always so hard to demonstrate the Apple Watch, and of course we know that we can screen share our iPhones and iPads under just by connecting them through wherever through Apple TV or whatever, or sharing apps. So, but
you should be able to do it because you're going to have that side table that'll wheel out, and you can place this on that.
That's what I might do.
You'll just have to switch the input. So
there is an app. What it'll do is you can just turn your camera on, and if you just use your camera, of course, you could be beaming it over Bluetooth or using a sharing or connect your Lightning connector to your Mac or whatever. But it also has a companion app that allows you to be able to turn the camera on and be able to actually use it as a whiteboard. You can mark things up. We also have another link in the show notes about that. There's 2 versions of the app. There's the Belkin Stage and the Belkin Stage Pro. Now, the Pro version has a lot of the interactive stuff where you can record your sessions and do a lot of other stuff. But I found that the free version should be more than sufficient because the Pro version is $4.99 if you want to purchase it. But the nice thing is you can sketch over record live video, and it's got hands-on lab. So I could have my Apple Watch.
I would love to try that.
Yeah,
I could think of so many ways that I could utilize that.
Just
like when I was working with my dad, when we were using the QuickSupport, he flipped on the camera as he was showing me a screen. And that is so important because if you want to, say you have a question about a cable or some piece of hardware, you just use the camera and you can document that.
Yeah, exactly. So my only concern about this app is it hasn't been updated in over a year. So I'm wondering, I'm hoping Belkin will continue to develop it and keep supporting it.
Yeah, years a little long in the tooth. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's concerning.
It's concerning, and that's what concerned me. So I did not buy that. I mean, you know me, I buy every app. I held back on this one. So, but like I said, you can utilize it. The other thing too is you can use your iPhone on this stand too if you wanted to.
I was going to ask you about that next. So how does it work with an iPhone? I've only seen pictures of the iPad.
No, yeah, because it's got that little notch. If you saw the picture of it, there's a notch at the base. You can just
the little green part. You just set your iPhone on there. You can
set your iPhone in there, and then it'll go the camera will go through in a way to gets to the base. Now remember with the base too.
You know that this would be perfect for. I teach a lot of seniors how to do online banking and deposit checks.
Yeah, there you go.
And one of the biggest struggles that they have is, I mean, and I have it too. Like I'm really hyped up on caffeine. Is trying to hold the iPhone steady enough and get enough good light and contrast to take the picture of the check that they're trying to deposit. And just to be able to, I've been looking for something like this, just to be able to set your iPhone on this and be able to deposit a check into your banking app, because lots of banking apps do that now. This would be really, really great, for your loved ones to get them, this would be a great Christmas present or something, or holiday gift or birthday present or something to get them something like this that they can set it on and not have to worry about jittering or trying to get the thing steady. And it's got a platform on it, so you could easily put a piece of construction paper, because it's white, it doesn't have contrast, but you easily fix that by putting a piece of, black construction paper or something underneath it. And then you've got contrast around the edges for when you're taking a picture of a check, for instance. But just to be able to scan documents and make PDFs and things like that. And then to be able to draw on them with the app. I got to get it.
If you haven't watched the video yet, it actually shows. This device was really aimed for the education market. So, if you go on, it says under Belkin Business and Education Market. So they're showing things like for a classroom, if someone wanted to put a textbook with pages from a textbook.
Oh my gosh, we call them Elmos.
So they put the textbook under there. It shows it on the camera using this app, and you'll be able to sketch over. You can annotate and circle and do whatever you want to do with a book. So there's enough space. There's
dissection or something.
Oh, absolutely. There's enough space under here. You could put pretty much anything under here and do it. So it's pretty exciting. I'm really liking it. It's versatile. Couple weird things. There is a kind of like a rubber clip on the bottom of the base, and I watched a couple other videos on YouTube to see if anybody would talked about it. It unclips, and I can't for the life of me figure out what it is. It's a green little rubberized clip. I was thinking maybe you could put your iPhone under there or something under there and clip it into there and clip it in place. Maybe do it that way. I'm not sure, but I don't know why you would want to do that, because then you can't see it. So I'm not sure what that's for. But it folds portable,
mystery
which is nice.
That needs to be solved.
Yeah, it folds portable, which is nice. The stand part of it has a lock feature, so it will not move unless you push the button to fold it in place. Again, it's heavy. There's one other app, and I just threw that in our show notes late after we started recording. There's another product out there it's a company called IPVO, and they're also more education aimed too. I have their IPVO document camera that's on a V platform that I've been using for years, and that they have a nice camera. It's a USB camera. It's kind of like a webcam, but it's like a document camera. But they have an app called the IPVO Whiteboard, and it is completely free. And
I've got to check this out.
Yeah, so if you go to that link in our show notes, you'll see it. It actually does exactly the same thing that this Belkin Stage app does. You can do annotations, you can do all that stuff, and it supports the camera, so there's no issue with it. And they're keeping it up to date. It looks like it was updated less than 6 months ago. So again, there's many others out there as far as doing this. So the apps, you can do that. But those were the two that stood out. But
this would be perfect for teaching handwriting. Oh my gosh!
There you go. So I got you inspired. And again, the price of the stand is not expensive. It's only $79.99. And it's reasonably priced, so it's not expensive. They have another model for this that's even more advanced, and it's got an arm that slides up and down, and it's a lot more money. But I thought this one was perfectly fine. And a shout out to Allison Sheridan and the Nozilla cast. She was looking for a last minute review, and I decided, you know what, I'll get on the Allison show and do a little quick review. So if you go to NozillaCast.com, you can listen to the latest episode. I did a short couple minute review of this as well. So this one was more comprehensive though. So I think you would have enjoyed this too. So, but that's boy, I had a lot to talk about today.
I told you we'd fill it.
I
we
know
still have stuff we gotta save for like 2 more episodes.
Yeah, we got plenty of stuff to talk about, and I'm glad we got caught up here to get our episode in. And again, come see me at Maxstock. I can't wait. It's like a week away. I'll see all of our friends again. So
yeah, email us if you're going to be out, and I'd love to email us both, and you can reach us at feedback@intouchwithios.com.
Yeah, and
check us out and listen to our podcast. Check out our website and let us know if you're going to be there. And I'd love to get in touch with people, and that'll get me on Skype. And
as I said, we'll see how time goes. I know, like I said, it's always some bit of a challenge for you, but during the weekends, but we might be able to pull something off. And
I think I could squeeze it in.
No, we'll try to squeeze you in. I mean, I'm not going on until Sunday, so I'll be able to podcast on Saturday without having any after presentation.
What are we, 2 hours behind? I have to go look at the map and figure out what it is, what the time difference is.
I think, yes, we are 2 hours because we started this at 8 your time and
right.
I'm sorry, 6 your time, and it's 8. It was 8 here, so so we are 2 hours.
Yeah, that's right. You're just going to Chicago, so that won't change. Yeah,
it would be in Chicago.
Same time, same bat channel.
Yep. So we'll do something, but you'll definitely be hearing some more episodes. I mean, even if there's some short episodes that we might publish, I might publish.
Like a live update or something.
Yeah, we'll do a couple shows. They don't know, so we can fill it, but because Guy's going to inspire me to do a lot more episodes. So
there's such great influences.
I might do one on Saturday and one on Sunday too. So you never know. So let's wrap this sucker up.
All right. Time to put a bow on it. Thanks for listening, and we hope you're more in touch with iOS after hearing this episode. Subscribe to our podcast in your favorite podcatcher and show your friends how to find us on Apple Podcasts or on the Google Play Store or on Stitcher Radio. We look forward to bringing you more useful information in future episodes. I'm Melissa Davis, and you can find me online all over at the Mac Mommy.
And I am Dave Ginsburg, and you will find me on Twitter at DaveG65.
Thanks for listening.